Good evening, Fantasy Goats. How y'all doing tonight? Welcome, man. We are going to go over the top 10 running backs. Me and RB Ryan have our own top 10. So this should be
Yeah,
interesting. We're going to talk a little bit more about best spots, landing spots, and stuff. How you doing tonight, RB Ryan?
I am doing pretty good. TGIF. Thank God it's
Yeah,
the weekend. This running back class is absolutely loaded. This top
it's
10 is
fire, dude. It's
kind of
fire.
hard.
And the thing about, before we get in our top 10s, the thing about this too is because it is so loaded, it's going to make teams not have to reach or not have to
hmm
overthink. They can just wait until a third or fourth round and get a fifth round to
Or it
get,
could start a run
or
because
it could
there's some
start a
teams
run
in the
too.
middle. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. All right, man, let's get into it. Let's hear your top 10.
Well, my top 10, I have got at number one, I actually have Travion Henderson. He's my RB1 of the class. He is, in my opinion, one of the more polished runners out of all the runners in the class. He's 5'10", 208. He has good size. He has good bulk. So he's built for a workhorse role. He's super explosive, so he should
Right?
probably run in like the low 4.4s, the high 4.3s ish. Like I'm expecting him to run like a 4.39 or 4.38.
Yeah.
Um, he is an elite running back. He's a home run hitter.
An
He
elite
can
pass
score from
catcher too.
anywhere. I'm sorry?
An elite pass catcher too.
And he's an elite pass catcher too. He also this last year that he came back to Ohio State, he worked on his pass blocking. So that's one
Hmm.
of the areas where he really
Right.
improved compared to the last 2 years. So I think that this season helped him become a more complete player. Him and Quinshawn Judkins split time in the backfield this past
Thank
season.
you.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so he doesn't
Exactly.
have that much wear and tear.
And you
He
know what?
only
His
had
his strength of schedule was 26 too. So
yeah.
he wants to he went against better competition.
hmm
That's funny because you and me are right there in line because that's who my number one was too. My comp for him is that I see him as Chase Brown, but I think
Oh, nice.
yeah, I think
My,
that's a good one. And then I seen Kenneth Walker, but I don't know.
Mm,
I don't know.
that's a
Um,
pretty good comp. The
yeah,
comp
but
that
I
I
like
had for him was Alvin Kamara because of his balance and his like his
okay.
burst.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Who's your number two?
Number two, I have Ashton Jinty,
All
the
right,
golden boy of the class.
we're one on one. We're 2-2 right now.
Yep.
Two and
I think
two.
that he's super productive. He is, one of those guys who he had a ton of carries. He didn't have a ton of carries per
He
se,
had 10
but
catches
he
last
did
year.
have, yeah,
Last
but
year, a
he
lot
did
of
have, he
catches
had
last year.
374.
Yeah.
So that's pretty heavy. He is 5'9", 215 pounds. He is short, stout. He's a heavy runner. He's a punisher who likes to deliver blows. He's a big play tackle breaker who turns
Yeah.
uh, nothing into something. His tape against Penn State, where he had like his lowest output of the season, he had 30 carries for 104 yards, and that was like the least amount of yards he got. He
He
got
and he worked hard for all those yards too. He
Yeah, he
worked
was
hard for all those yards.
dragging guys and like carrying guys 3, 4, 5 yards down the field.
Yeah.
He is yeah, he fights for every blade of grass. He had 374 carries for 2,601 yards and 29 touchdowns.
Yeah. He's a
Yeah,
stud.
there was a point throughout the year where I was like betting on college football, and this dude for him to score a touchdown would be at like minus 1,050. It'd be at
Mhm.
like 1,049 because he was just almost guaranteed to score at least one. Oh, we forgot to do the landing spot
We'll
for
we'll
number
go back.
one.
We'll go back to him. We'll go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, my comp for Ashton Genty is Maurice Jones-Drew.
Ooh, MJD.
Yeah.
And see the comp that I saw was a Kamara, but I think
hmm
he
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he's quite the same caliber of a pass catcher as Kamara was.
no, that's why. So then my other comp was almost like a Saquon Barkley kind of, because almost same body type. Both can catch the
Mm,
ball. It's a reach, I know, but
I mean, it's not really a
I like
reach. I
MJD
get
though.
the running style is very similar. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think another comp for him would be like a Doug Martin.
Damn, look at you going old school.
Yeah,
That's way back time, bro.
yeah, right. Yeah, Doug Martin, like a Corey Dillon type of running back. Like that's what
Hmm.
he reminds me of. He's like a short guy who's like he's hard to bring down, and his legs are always churning. So like even if you MJD would say Jinty is better, of course he would. But MJD was pretty nasty himself.
Yeah. All right. Who's your number three?
At number three, I have Caleb Johnson out of Iowa.
Dude, we're in sync, bro.
Oh,
This is funny. I
so
thought
far
I thought
top
you-
three
I
all
thought you'd be I thought you were going, what are you talking about, Ron? Why?
match.
So what's
Nope.
your reason?
So Caleb Johnson, the thing that catches my eye when it comes to him when I was watching his tape was how patient of a runner he is. Like
Exactly.
he
Yeah.
picks his holes very carefully. Like he like weaves through alleys, and for a guy who's 6 feet and 225 pounds, like there's certain runs where like he makes himself kind of small where he fits in certain gaps and then he explodes out of the backside. He has pretty good long speed. He's not really like a speed guy. He's not really a long strider, but
No,
he
not but
can, gain some yards when he's out in the open field.
he breaks tackles too. He's
I
hard to get
have
down.
he breaks tackles. Yeah, I have great contact balance. Yeah, he's a patient runner who doesn't force too many runs. He'll take what the defense gives him and he'll churn out extra yardage with his feet constantly moving. At 225 pounds, he has the ability to be a workhorse three down
Mhm.
guy. Some good
He could be a
upside in the
three-down back.
passing game as well. Last
He's
season, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, he could be a
Yeah,
three-down
he's
back.
built to be a three down back.
Yeah.
Um, mhm. Last year, he had 240 carries for 1,537 yards, and he scored 21 touchdowns.
Yeah, because
He, yeah,
Iowa
he's
pretty
got
much
some
ran an
real juice.
offense
Like
with
he's
him.
a legit guy. And
Yeah. What's the comp?
yeah, through him, yep. My comp for him is Le'Veon Bell.
That's funny because when you just talk about the patience part, that's the first person I thought of.
Hmm.
First person I thought was Le'Veon Bell. But
Yeah,
he's like a
Le'Veon Bell. Yeah, the way
Le'Veon
he
Bell is
runs, the
like a
way he
body.
looks. Yeah, and they even, I mean, they play similar.
Yeah. The ones that
Like
I
who?
came up with that I saw was Zach Chardonnay and Tank Bigsby.
Hank Bigsby, yeah, yeah. I like the Zach Charbonnet comparison. I think he's very close to Charbonnet. Yeah.
It's almost like a cross between Zach Charbonnet and Le'Veon Bell because he has the body type of Zach Charbonnet, but the patience of Le'Veon Bell. Because Le'Veon Bell was tall and lanky, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Of Le'Veon Bell, yeah.
But he probably has a better attitude, Le'Veon Bell. All
No, no,
right.
no. They're almost the same size.
Are they
So
really?
Caleb Johnson was 6 feet 225, and yeah, Le'Veon Bell. Hold on, I got you.
Probably about 215.
Le'Veon Bell was 6'1", 225. So
Yeah, he
they're
was that
literally
big?
the same weight.
Damn. He didn't look
Yeah, he
that
was
big.
225. Le'Veon Bell was a big dude.
He just seemed that
Yeah,
big.
six
Maybe.
one.
Yeah. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. All right. So who do
Yeah,
you have
he's a
number
big boy.
4? Yeah. Who do you have number 4?
I mean,
Should I
that's why he
guess?
can handle having 25 to 30 carries.
Do you have Omarion Hampton at number
You want to
4?
guess? Oh, go ahead.
Was it Hampton at number 4?
Do I? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Omarion Hampton is number 4.
What's your take on him?
Omarion Hampton is 6 feet, 220 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He is an electric playmaker. He is
Very
also
much
another
so.
guy who has big like home run ability. He's Yeah, he's a guy who would excel in like a one cut scheme. So
Mm-hmm.
like on like in the 49ers zone scheme, he'd excel there.
Oh,
Um,
Rams.
his comp, well, actually, hold on. He's a third score anywhere. He had 281 carries at North Carolina this past season, so he's definitely able to handle a heavy workload.
Mm-hmm.
He has more straight line speed than
Right.
wiggle. He has a little bit of power behind his game. He's a little bit of a taller, lengthier guy, and I think that he'd be good in in any situation where he just has to make one read, put his foot in the ground, and go. I expect him to run very fast at the combine because he's so tall. So like his
4-3,
weight is kind of
4-4.
like very evenly distributed. He had 15 touchdowns last season, and North Carolina wasn't really that good, but he
You
was
you
pretty
weren't.
much their offense.
Yeah. He his comp that I saw was David Montgomery.
Yeah, I like
But
his style. I like the way he plays.
yeah, so the David Montgomery was
Well,
the comp that I saw, but he's almost a cross between David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs. Wouldn't you say?
wait, so you said you think Omarion Hampton would be like a Jameer Gibbs?
Like a cross between Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs.
Oh yeah, yeah. If both of them were put together.
Yeah. All right.
The comp that I have for him is Lamar Miller.
Really? Lamar Miller?
Yeah. I think the smooth style that he runs, I think his strides and his form kind of reminds me of Lamar Miller too, where it's like they don't really like move around too much. They don't really make too many cuts. But if there is a crease, if there is an open hole, they'll just burst right through it, and then they'll beat whoever it is to the pylon. So I
Yeah.
think Marion Hampton is that kind of player.
All right. Who do you have at number 5?
At number 5, I think this is where we might start differing a little bit. At number 5, I actually have Quinshawn Judkins. Actually, have
Okay.
Quinshawn Judkins.
Okay. Yeah, we're different right there. I have Dylan Sampson at number 5.
So you don't have him as your 5.
No,
Okay.
I have Dylan Sampson.
I like Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson is a pretty good runner. Hmm.
But so is
Dylan
Quinshawn
Sampson kind of worries me a little. Well, okay. Quinshawn Judkins. Do you have him in your top 10?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's number 6. He's number
Mm-hmm.
6.
So it's not that much different. Yeah.
No, and
So
and I was
I've got
going I was
Quinshawn
going back
Judkins
and
at.
forth with them.
Hmm. Yeah, they're kind of close, like prospect wise.
Yeah.
Him and Sampson. So Quinshawn Judkins is 6 feet, 219 pounds. He has very good size. He has very good production. He played at Ole Miss for a couple of seasons, and then he played at Ohio State this past season. Won a national championship with them, of course. He is also another guy who's an all-around player. Him and Trevion Henderson both
Mhm.
rushed for 1,000 yards, and
Yeah.
I think they both had like 1,400 all-purpose yards, both of them. So they were a dynamic duo. Them splitting that work at Ohio State is gonna pretty much guarantee that they come into the league with at least fresher legs. So
Yeah,
that
that's a
way,
good point.
they're not handling.
That's
Yeah,
a great point. Who's
that way.
what's
The
your comp for Junkins?
comp for Quinshawn Judkins, I couldn't really find somebody that I liked as a comp for
What
him.
what they had and what I saw was Joe Mixon and Kareem Hunt.
Joe Mixon's a good comp.
Yeah, and Kareem Hunt, which I guess are kind of basically the
Yeah.
same
Oh,
players.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think that Judkins has a little bit more wiggle than those
Hmm.
guys, but it's the same style. Like he's always looking, for contact. He's always lowering his shoulder, driving his legs
He
forward. So that's
bulldozes
not bad.
people. No. So what's your comp for
Hmm.
Dylan Sampson?
Dylan Sampson is God. I just had it.
What I read and stuff, because it's hard for me to figure
I
out
just
who
had it.
a good
I know.
comp.
Alex Collins is one of the
Alex Collins from the
who.
Ravens.
Yeah, he used to play for the Ravens.
Damn.
Yeah, that's my comp for Dylan Sampson. That's what he runs like to me.
See, it was what I saw was James Cook and Jalen Wright.
Yeah, the Jalen Wright comparison. Well, mostly because
It's
they played
probably because of
together.
body type.
But yeah, I like the Jalen. I like the yeah. They have the same body type too. 5'11", 190. He's also projected to be like a speedster.
All right, what's your, I guess, number 7?
Number 7, I have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Cam Scatterboo. Cam Scatterboo is my guy in this
Okay,
draft.
yeah,
Well, he's
we're
one of
we're
my guys
different
in this
there
draft.
too. Yeah, we're different
I
there.
think that after the first five, yeah, I think that after the first five, it kind of gets a little bit like jumbled. And it's
Hmm.
not because there isn't really much talent at the running back
No.
position, but it's because of how loaded it is this year. So like once you get to like the consensus top 4 or 5, the 6 through like 15 could be anybody.
Yes, yeah, I had
So
Devin
I
Neal.
like Cam Scatterboo a lot.
Yeah, I had Devin Neal, and then
Oh, you have
then
Devin Neal. Yeah, I
Scatterboo.
like Devin Neal too.
So what?
hmm
Scatterboo,
Devin Neal is one of those like
Arizona,
north and south pure runners.
pure runner. He
Yeah.
he's Mike Allstott reincarnated. That's who he reminds me of.
Who, Scatterboo or Devin Neal?
No, Scatterboo reminds me of Mike Allstott because
Oh
when he
yeah. Uh-huh.
because he's like he's an in betweener because he's a running back, but he's big and physical like a fullback.
hmm Well, I mean, yeah, it's because he's very like stout, like he's very well built.
Mhm.
I think that a position that Cam Scatterboo could really thrive at the next level is fullback. And I
Yeah.
think that if he did move to fullback, I think he'd be a great fullback. And I think that his comp for Cam Scatterboo is Kyle Juszczyk.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, that's my comp for him. He's a football guy,
It's like say when I was looking this
and he
stuff
seems
up
like the
and
guy who he'll do anything you need him to do.
when I was looking this stuff up and stuff, and I thought of Mike Allstott, but then the other comp that was thrown out there was a bigger physical Kyron Williams, but I don't see that.
Yeah, I get that comp. Yeah,
All right, so Devin
yeah,
Neal,
they're very similar stylistically.
where do you have Devin Neal at?
Uh,
Or-
Devin Neal. Devin Neal is at number 8 for that was Cam Scatterby was 7. Yeah, so Devin
Yeah,
Neal is definitely
yeah.
at number 8 for me.
So that's
hmm
where we just like the last two, they were switched around. All right, I like Devin Neal. He runs with a
hmm
purpose, and I like that. A Scalaboo runs with a purpose too, and they don't shy away from they don't shy away from the physical game. They're gonna run through you and run hard through you, and not try to maneuver around you. They're gonna just go right through you. Um,
hmm
he He's a little bit of a
Right.
almost like a Brian Robinson Jr. type of runner, but a little bit more physical maybe.
Mhm. Yeah.
And he's good. He's good out in the
I
outfield
like
too.
Devin Neal's game a lot. Yeah, his the game that he had against Colorado, oof, he
Oof!
destroyed them.
Single handedly destroyed him. That's what put
Mhm.
him on my radar. Was that game? Was that
Oh
game right
yeah,
there?
Devin Neal's, yeah, he's been good for a couple of years now. Mhm.
All right. So what's number 9? I bet we'll have these all mixed up
Yeah,
too.
Devin Neal, he's one of those team leaders.
Who do you have at number 9?
Number 9, I have Jordan James at number 9, running back out of
Oh,
Oregon.
okay. Okay. I had Khalil
Yeah,
Mullings from
he's 5'10".
Michigan.
Oh, from Michigan.
Hmm.
Nice. I I don't know if I would say that like I've seen enough from him to know that like he'll be good at the next level. Like
Right.
I don't know that he'll be good right away. Like I think he has some tools, he has some things that he can use to his advantage. He's a big dude. He's 6'2", 233 pounds. So he's definitely gonna get goal line touches at the next level. I
Right.
could see him being a guy that the Chargers take late in the draft.
Right. So who do you have at number 10?
And number 10. Number 10, I have LaQuint Allen out of Syracuse.
Okay. I had Brashawn Smith out of SMU. Brashard
hmm
Smith.
He's one of those gadget guys. Bashad Smith is gonna be he's gonna get used like Debo Samuel at the next
Hmm.
level because he can do a little bit of everything. He can run, he can pass, he can catch, he can return.
So what was
So yeah,
your reasoning
he's a very good
for
prospect too.
the kid out of Syracuse? What did you like about the kid from Syracuse?
So I like his game. I like his grit. I like his toughness. I like I like the way he runs the ball, and he's a little bit slender. He's 6 feet, 207 pounds. So like even when you watch him play, he's a little bit slim. Like he's a little bit like wiry. Like he's very like thin framed. So
Hmm.
I'm a little bit worried about that. But I've seen him get banged up, come back into the game, finish the game, play the next week banged up. So like he's a very tough guy. He's an all-around back. He can run, he can catch, he can block. He's a very good like football guy. Like his IQ is very high, and he's just an all-around, just a complete bat.
Right on. Who do you have as a sleeper that might surprise people?
Sleeper, I like Jadon Blue out of Texas.
Hmm. Not,
Um,
not
he
Tennessee.
wore, I think, number 20. No, number 26 was the other guy. I think he wore number 4. But I like Jadon Blue. I think that he is very close, not talent wise, but like stylistically to Jameer Gibbs. I think he's
Okay.
that style
Yeah.
of a runner. I think he has that kind of home run speed. I think he has that kind of ability as a pass catcher, and he's also 6 feet, 190 pounds. So that's very like prototypical for a pass catching back or for a scat back. I don't think that he was used enough at Texas.
No.
I think that there will probably some plays where he could have been targeted some more, but that's all Quinn Ewers. And I do think that Jadon Blue has a lot of room to grow. I do think that if he gets put in a fun system, like I could see Jadon Blue ending up in like Chicago and being the pass catching back there. So like if he ended up in a fun system on a fun offense with with some good with some good pieces around him, Like I think he has a chance to be very good early.
Yeah. My sleeper was Sweet Willie Marks. I loved him out of SC. Loved watching him play at SC. Then when in the Shrine game when he was
Mm-hmm.
playing, that's when he really just jumped off the charts for me. Him and was it Beishing Tootin? They both balled out
Yeah,
at the Shrine game.
Bayshul too, and I think it is.
Yeah, but
Yeah, or
Marks,
Bashul.
yeah, Marks reminds me. He runs angry like Isaiah Pacheco or like Pacheco does, and I love that. He runs and he looks
But
for
yeah, Willie
he looks
Willie
for
Marks is
contact.
a good player.
He runs through tackles. He just he just wasn't used right, SE, and he didn't get. I mean, he got enough
Reminds you of
good,
who?
didn't it? Huh? Yeah, Willie Marks. I think he kind of suffered a little bit playing with SC because SC's offense was kind of a mess a little bit. But that's who my sleeper is. I think that's something that's going
Mm-hmm.
to fall out on the combine. The combine's next week too. All right.
No, Woody Marks.
Yeah, Willie Marks. Yeah,
Yeah, it's Woody Marks, and he should be at 22. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So Trayvon Henderson, where do you think the best spot for him and the worst spot is for him?
Travion Henderson, the best spot is probably the most obvious spot, and that is Las Vegas. And
Yeah, because of Chip Kelly.
I think that the worst spot for him, hmm the worst spot for him would probably be anywhere that already has an established runner. So like if he ended up on like the Rams or something like that, then that'd be terrible because then he wouldn't really see a path to many touches.
Right. And see, I like the Raiders. I think one of the worst spots, and I'll just say this:
Hmm
okay, any of these guys, the top five, the top 10, whatever, if they go to a team with a crap ass O line and maybe a mid quarterback, they're gonna have issues. They're gonna have problems. So with that said, because of
hmm
the Bears' offensive line, that'd be a bad spot for him, just because the Bears' offensive line.
Oh yeah,
I
that'd be
do like the
terrible.
Raiders. I think the Niners would be a good spot for him too.
Hmm
Just the fact that CMC is getting along in the tooth, and he can
hmm
kind of move right in right away because the same skill set with the running
Yeah, I
and the
mean,
catch.
th-
Yeah,
yeah, I mean they have a few guys on that team though who can handle some touches if he were to go down. So I don't know if running back will be a position. I mean, this would be the class to invest in running back, even if you do have two, three, or four good ones. You're
yeah,
probably
but
gonna
two of
want
the
to take one
people
of these
from the
guys
Niners
just
are
just
free
to be
agents,
safe.
so yeah. All right, but Genty, jeez,
Hmm
what do you think is the best and worst spot?
Ashton Genty, worst. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, his worst spot is probably Dallas, honestly, because I feel like Dallas's O line, Zach Martin retired today,
Exactly, exactly.
so
That's
like
exactly what I was going to say too.
Dallas's O line is not what it used to be. And I know that like people would want him to go there to go to Dallas because of the star name, because it's the most obvious fit and stuff like that. But if you don't have an O line, you have a brand new head coach, new OC, new play caller. Like I don't think that would you know that he would be successful right away if he ended up there.
Right. I think um I think the Steelers would be a good spot for him.
Oh my! If he ended up on the Steelers, that would be insane. If he ended up there.
And see, and he can because of the fact, like we were saying, this draft class, this running back class is so deep that teams
Hmm
might will draft defensive player. I think it's gonna be a run on defensive players and O line first. And then you'll see the skill players from
Mm.
maybe 20 on down. Broncos are a good spot for him. too.
I think Broncos are a good spot for him too. Um,
All right, what about
I
Caleb
think
Johnson?
Caleb Johnson looks like a Steeler, like just a
Yeah,
straight up Steeler. He would be nice in. I think he'd be good in Las Vegas too. I think he'd be good on the Raiders.
he'd be good.
Who else?
What about Minnesota?
I mean, go ahead.
What about Minnesota? What about the Vikings?
He'd be really nice in Minnesota. Yeah, he'd be. Yeah, he'd be really good there.
What about the worst spot?
He would be really good. He'd be really good in Cincinnati too.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. That would probably hurt Chase Brown
Yeah,
though.
I think so. I
I
mean, yeah, but Chase Brown is. It's definitely gonna limit his ceiling.
yeah. What about Omarion Hampton?
Omarion Hampton, definitely the Vikings. That's been the place that he's been linked to the most.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I could definitely see him going to Pittsburgh, Las Vegas too. I mean, actually, the Colts need a running back too. I wouldn't mind us getting somebody like Omarion Hampton to back up JT.
I think
Wouldn't mind that at all.
Kansas City would be a good spot for him too.
Kansas. Oh yeah, Kansas City. Yeah.
Be a really good
Yep.
spot.
Yep. Yep. Travion Henderson in Kansas City. I just thought about it. That would like be
Yeah.
insane if KC used that like 31st pick and they would have
Mhm.
plucked one of these running backs and put it into their offense. That would be ridiculous.
The Texans would be a good spot for him too.
Texans too. Hmm.
I think Mixon's going to be what 29 next year,
Something
and
like that. Yeah, and I think
he's
he's
banged up.
he's
He's
under
banged up a little
contract for
bit
one
this
more year.
past year. So, all right,
Hmm.
Dylan Sampson.
Dylan Sampson. Probably
What
the same teams. Yeah, Las Vegas, Denver. Um,
what about the Saints?
I don't think the Saints would, because I think that Dylan Sampson is probably a guy who'd want to go somewhere. Well, not who would want to go somewhere, but who would go somewhere and compete for a starting spot. But I
Hmm.
don't think that he would beat out like an Alvin Kamara if he got drafted there. And I know the Saints have a couple of other running backs from the last couple drafts too that are still pretty talented.
Now, what if here because the Saints are in salary cap hell? What if
Hmm.
they decide to cut Kamara, knowing that this
To save
class
some
is
money.
deep, and knowing they have Count Miller?
You're right. I mean, they could do that. Kellen Moore could approach this as like bringing in some new guys, bringing in some fresh blood, trying to clear house, trying to get them back, even on the books. So I
And
could
we
see them
know,
taking a stab at a young guy instead.
and that is with that offense, Kellen Moore special offense. Now they're going to, they'll need pass catch running backs too. So I
Hmm.
mean, it's just one of those, it's a thought that it could happen. You know,
Right.
again, Denver. There's a lot of these teams. A lot of these teams, these running backs going to fit because there's
Hmm.
a need for them.
Hmm.
All right, what
And,
about
and
good?
and a lot of these teams too, like a lot of these like new head coaches or coaches that are in new situations, it feels like they all want to go get back to running the ball. Like it feels like this like batch of like new coaches, new head coaches, like they understand the value of trying to run the ball.
Yeah, yeah, very much so because it opens the game up, opens up the passing game. Like they go
Hmm.
hand in hand. I mean, it's football
Yeah.
101.
Right.
It is. I mean, without a good running game, your pass game is going to suffer. Without a good pass game,
Exactly.
your running game is going to suffer. You know,
Hmm.
it's
Unfortunately.
it's stupid simple, but
Right.
some teams don't
Yeah.
quite understand that, and they want to throw the ball 50 times, run the ball 20 times. And they're,
Right.
oh, Devin Neal.
Devin Neal definitely feels like a Pittsburgh Steeler. Like I
Yeah,
feel like he'd be perfect there. I could also see him being in Dallas. Like I think he'd be the kind of like the kind of back that you would want to put with Rico Dowdle, where you give Devin Neal maybe like 10 to 12
Mhm.
carries inside the tackles, and then you bring in Dowdle as a pass catcher, or like you just or you can split the carries between the two of them. Um, Teams with terrible O lines like Tennessee, the Giants, teams like that. Like I don't think that they would do well with getting
Right.
a running back like Devin Neal, because I don't think that he's the kind of guy who can create on his own. I think that he's the type of guy who needs a really good O line, who needs some really good blocking and a good scheme.
What about the Browns? Good or bad?
I was thinking about the Browns too, but I think that because of the kind of backs that the Browns have had and the way that they like to run the ball, I think somebody like Khalil Mullins would be a better fit
Okay.
for Cleveland. Yeah, or even if they wanted to go like pure toughness and get a guy like Scatterboo
Yeah.
and have him run behind that line.
You know what's interesting with the Steelers too is the fact that both Najee Harris and Warren are free agents. So
Yeah.
they might decide to roll the dice and get
Mhm.
and try to get two rookie running backs and have two rookie running backs on the rookie contracts. You
Mhm.
know,
I think that Najee is definitely out of there. But I don't know. They might want to bring back what's his name?
Warren.
Warren. Yeah, Jalen Warren. They might want to bring him back.
And then I haven't said anything like I haven't said any of these guys like the Rams, but one thing that's like in the back of my mind is McVay generally lets running backs go out, run the rookie contract, and then next guy up. So
Mhm.
they might be looking for somebody, but if they do look for somebody, they're looking for somebody that's a home run hitter because
Oh
that
yeah.
that's what they're freaking lacking. Like
Mhm.
Smith from SMU, that would be a good home run hitter for him.
Mhm.
There's a kid out of Delaware, New Hampshire, Hams, that is a home run hitter too. That like a
Mm.
team like the Rams could grab in the late rounds and
Right.
stuff.
I
Yeah,
think I think if the Rams were to try and get like a home run hitter, I think they would want to try and get Todd Gurley 2.0. So like I think that they would want to maybe target a guy like Caleb Johnson, or maybe
yeah,
target a guy like Travion Henderson, like somebody that they know who is dynamic with the ball in their hands, who can create and take some pressure off of whoever they have a quarterback.
yeah. All right. What about Cam Scatterboo? Where do you like him at?
Cam Scatterboo, Pittsburgh Steeler, Cleveland Brown. Uh, I like him anywhere in the AFC North, honestly.
What
Cam
about the
Scatterboo could
Patriots?
come in and be a fullback for Derrick Henry. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. What about the Patriots?
The Patriots, Cam Scatterboo would be great. Would be great for them. Yeah, the Patriots need a running back too.
Yeah, because they just got Ramondre Stevenson, and I mean, and what Hasty and Gibson, but Gibson's pretty
Hmm.
much their third down back.
Yeah, they don't really. Hmm. But hey, if they can get somebody who's a little bit younger, somebody who's got less mileage on them, I know they'll definitely do that.
Yeah. Where do you think the run will be? Do you think it would be late day two in the third round? Between the late second and late third round, we might get a
Nah, I think the run is gonna be in the middle of the second.
yeah,
I think it's gonna be in the middle of the second.
interesting. It's gonna be fun
Yeah, but
seeing
this
how
class is deep at a few different positions. You'll
yeah,
probably
there's
tell.
teams gonna find the next like Kyron Williams, the next Isaiah Pacheco in the fifth and sixth round, this year. They will.
Hmm.
So it's just, you know,
Absolutely.
depending on
Yeah,
this
there's gonna
how
be
the
a bunch of
scouting.
starters coming from later rounds.
Yeah. All right. Well, shoot. I think that's it. I think we covered them all. Any other running backs that stick out to you that we didn't cover? What Harvey from
Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma
Oklahoma?
State.
What about
RJ Harvey from
from
UCF.
yeah. There's been
Who?
there's been mock drafts I've seen with him going to the Rams and Ollie Gordon too, like in the
RJ
fourth or
Harvey?
fifth round. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, cool.
Um, Go
Is
ahead.
that it? You got anybody else?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, oh, Jerry, what's he going to do? What is he going to trade? Is he going to trade for Miles Garrett and just trade all his draft picks?
Jerry. Oh, yeah, right. Man, yeah, right. Jerry Jones is the same person who wouldn't give Derrick Henry $10 million for him to
Yeah.
come play for the Cowboys. He's not making any trades. Like, Jerry Jones is the type of person who, if he makes a trade, he has to be the one winning in the trade for
Yeah.
it to happen.
Yeah. Well, shoot, I guess that's it. Thank you all for coming. You all have a nice evening. Be back next week. We would do tight ends next week.
Yeah, tight ends.
All
Yeah,
right. Yeah. Be a
exciting
difference.
stuff.
Make it.
All
Yeah.
right.
Be a difference. Make a difference. Everybody. Have a good evening. Good night.
Yeah, spread positivity always. Have a good night.